Everybody and their mama is telling you you need to get on Substack. You already on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're even on YouTube, and you're like, I don't need another platform. In this episode, we're going to tell you why you need to prioritize being on Substack today. So everyone needs to be on Substack, whether you're just a reader or if you're a writer, any way you look at it, you need to be on this platform if you're into social media at all. A lot of people are active on the meta platforms, which are Facebook and Instagram, but there is a new format on the horizon, and I want to make sure that you take advantage of it. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why you need to be on Substack, what it is, how it works, and why right now is actually the best time to start. Let's jump right on into it. So first things first, what is Substack? Substack is a newsletter platform that doubles as a blog, a community, and even a business. Think of it as social media meets email marketing all in one place. Every post you publish, it goes live online and it lands directly in your subscribers' inbox. You own your audience, no algorithm decides who sees your work, and it's built for writers, creators, and anyone who has something that's worth saying. Now, one big difference, one of the key differences between platforms like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, even YouTube, compared to Substack, is that you actually own your audience. This is something that I've been on the hilltop about ever since I came into this industry, right? And people don't do it. They don't build email lists. They're like, oh my God, I got 100,000 followers on TikTok, like whoopity-doo. And then all of a sudden, TikTok bans your account and your audience disappears overnight. So on Substack, unlike traditional social media platforms, you actually own your audience because you're gathering their email addresses. So on Instagram, TikTok, and even on your podcast platform, the platform owns your audience. You're just operating on rented land, on rented space. If that platform disappears tomorrow, so does your following. On Substack, you own every subscriber's email address. You can take that list anywhere at any time, and it belongs to you. Building on Substack means building something nobody can take away from you. And that is so powerful, especially in this day and age. Now, who's Substack for? It's not just for writers. I think that's one misconception that I see quite often. People are like, well, I don't really write. I'm not a writer. If you are creating content of any type, if you're a business owner, if you are a coach, if you are actually just someone who is vlogging and sharing about your life, maybe you're a mom or a dad and you're documenting your life so your kids can have like a reference point to see you in this current stage of your life, Substack could work for you as well. So it's not just for writers, it's for podcasters, video creators, coaches, analysts, journalists, all of them belong here. You can host your podcast directly on Substack alongside your newsletter. Let that sink in. You can host a podcast directly on the site. Like honestly, Substack is turning into a one-stop shop for multimedia businesses. Video content is supported as well. Your YouTube content can live here on Substack. Now, one thing that I really like about Substack is that they have integration with two of my favorite platforms, YouTube as well as LinkedIn. I don't use LinkedIn as much for my sports media content that I'm creating. However, on YouTube, it's a really nice option to have that bridge between the two platforms. Substack lets you hub all of your content in one place while building an email list around it. It's music to my ears. If you create anything online, Substack gives it a home and a business model. Now, let's talk about the money, right? Free versus paid. You choose what is free and what is paid. You set the rules. Free content builds your audience. Paid content builds your income. You can charge $5, $10, $20 a month or even more. You decide what's worth your work and what your work is worth. Maybe your newsletter is free, but your podcast episodes are paid only. The goal is a predictable monthly income for people who actually want to support your work. Now, I'll take that a step further, right? So yes, monthly is cool. It makes sense to have, recurring income monthly. But I want you to think beyond that. I want you to think about annual recurring revenue, right? And this is something that I've been really focused on with our sports stackers community. I'm really pushing anybody who wants to actually support as an MVP level member, which is what we call them, and you want to be in that paid tier. We're encouraging people to be annual subscribers. So this is a ninja trick. Don't just focus on the $5, $10, $20 a month. Focus on a way to leverage your monthly fee for your subscription versus what your annual subscription is, and make it an unbeatable deal where if they subscribe for annual, it would just make total sense. It would be like a no-brainer. So for example, one thing that we're doing right now, we're in the middle of what we call our 31-day sprints. Every quarter we do one, and basically we're inviting our community to just build together, grow together, support each other's work. At the end of that sprint, I typically do a slight price increase, and then I present an unbeatable offer to the community at that time. But it has a time limit on it, right? So if folks take advantage of it by, let's say, the 31st of March at 11:59 p.m., they get 50% off of the current annual price. So if we're charging $20 a month and the discount gets you the annual membership at like $40, $45 a month, which one would you take? Would you take 1 month for $20, or would you take 12 months for $45 or $50, right? So just know that there are ways to create buzz around your annual subscriptions, and making sure that you're providing layers and layers of value for people. So it's not just like, hey, read my newsletter for free, and then I'll give you a bonus newsletter that is only for you. It's got to be more than just the newsletter. So what we've done is we've created a notes, what are we calling it? A daggone vault, the creator's vault, right? 555 notes templates. Let that sink in. 555 notes templates that they can use. They're ready to use. They can just swap out information and make it relevant to their content, their voice, their brand. And we include that with the membership. And they also get access to an entry into our award show that we're working on. So we're launching the Draftees, which is our sports writing awards. And those are going to be the actual entries for that are going to be fee-based. So people are going to have to pay to enter to be in the running for one of those awards. But as a member, as an MVP member, as a paid tier member, you get access. So those are just some examples of ways that you can like increase the value of your annual membership. But I just want to encourage you, don't just look at it from a monthly perspective. Think annual. Now, this arguably is the most important part of Substack, the way it's currently constructed. Notes. Notes are pretty much the social media branch of Substack. It has its own algorithm, the whole 9 yards, and it is a powerful, visibility play, of a powerful discovery platform. This is how people are going to find out about you. And Notes change everything. It helps you to stay visible. Notes is Substack's built-in social feed. Think of it like X or Twitter without the noise. Post short thoughts, reactions, and ideas between your full newsletter and when other content drops. It keeps you visible and active without having to publish a full edition every day. Other writers restack your notes and send new readers straight to your page. I'm going to come back to restacks in a minute. Consistent notes activity is one of the fastest ways to grow your subscriber count. Now, when it comes to restacks, this is something that we are huge about in the Sports Stackers community. You should restack freely. There has been no indication from Substack or from people who cover Substack or from my research and just monitoring hundreds and hundreds of accounts that there's any negative impact by restacking too much, right? Now, I wouldn't go crazy. You don't want to spam, right? But I think if you wanted to set a goal for yourself, like, hey, daily, I would like to restack 5 posts per day. I want to restack 5 posts, but be very, very intentional on who you're restacking. Think about people who have adjacent audiences or even have similar audiences and there's some audience overlap. Consider building some kind of rapport with them and start by liking their posts, commenting on their posts, but the most powerful signal of all, restacking their content. Next up, I want to talk about RightStack. So if you're trying to create notes, sometimes it can be kind of a drag to like, what am I going to think of? What am I going to create? Like, when am I going to do it? Substack recently introduced 2 new features. One is a draft feature where you could type your note, save it as a draft, and come back later. And then they introduced their scheduling tool. But you can only schedule one at a time, and you have to do it manually. RightStack is the remedy for you to speed up the process. You get advanced analytics, so you actually know what's working, so you can see your best performing posts. You can see which posts led to the most paid subscribers, free subscribers, gets the most clicks. You can't get that kind of data from Substack at this moment. Also, the bulk scheduling tool to help you plan your content without the daily scramble is huge. Like, I use RightStack every single day and it keeps me consistent. I think I'm on like a 300-day run of dropping at least 1 note every single day, and that's not including restacks. Also, the notes generator, whether you are into AI or not, right? Let me put that out there as a disclaimer, because I know a lot of our writers are like anti-AI, and I get it. It's a scary time. AI is moving at the speed of light, and it can be a little intimidating and daunting, right? Is it going to come for our jobs and all of that kind of stuff? I would say whether you like it or not, the notes generator in RightStack is worth testing out because it analyzes your profile. It analyzes your notes. It analyzes all of your articles, and then it can create notes based on your words, based on your content. And the last thing is, it's absolutely free for the first 7 days. So all you have to do is try it out and see if you like it. To do that, all you have to do is visit bit.ly/RightStack. That's bit.ly RightStack. Now let's talk about income models. Income is not based on views. So like on TikTok and, on Facebook's, creator program, YouTube, even with their AdSense, it depends on how many views you are getting, that determines how much money you make. And on Substack, that is not the case. So on YouTube or TikTok, 1 month you go viral, the next month you earn nothing. Substack income is not based on how many views you get. It's based on subscribers who pay monthly or annually, like I said earlier. That makes it one of the most predictable revenue streams a creator can build. 100 paying subscribers at $10 a month is $1,000 every single month reliably. You are not chasing virality. You are building a business. And this is a huge signal. Brands are coming to Substack, right? Brands and PR agencies are actively looking for Substack-specific campaigns right now. There are not many creators with active, engaged newsletters yet. That is your advantage. You are definitely in the early adopter phase if you are getting on Substack right now. And if you've been on Substack for a little while, you are way ahead of the game. A small but loyal newsletter can command real sponsorship dollars. Engaged subscribers are worth more to a brand than passive social media followers. The early movers on any platform always win the sponsorship game, and this is very early in the game right now, folks. So, one thing we talk about a lot in Sports Stackers is collaborating, connecting, just recommending, and Substack makes that very easy with built-in growth. And it helps you to grow with other writers. Substack lets you recommend other publications directly from your page. When you recommend someone and they recommend you back, both of your lists grow. Cross promotions between newsletters are one of the most effective growth tools on the platform. The community here actually supports each other. It has a very different energy than most platforms. Find your niche, connect with writers in it, and grow together. In our Sports Stackers community, I talked about the 31-day sprint earlier on. It is a wild, wild space when it comes to people promoting each other. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if you've ever gone fishing and seen when the fishes are jumping. Every morning, that's what it looks like when we're in the middle of our 31-day sprint. And honestly, even when we're out of the sprint, it's the same level of activity. People are just kind, loving, supportive. We're backing each other up. We're collaborating. We're recommending. It's just an amazing space. And there's so many different communities like that on Substack. The timing. So I said it earlier, you are an early adopter if you are moving now. Now is the right time. The best time to sign up for Substack was probably a year or two ago. The second best time is right now. So I would pause this episode. If you do not have a Substack account, go create it and then come back. I'll wait. Okay, welcome back. So Substack is still growing. The competition in most niches and topics is still low. The people already following you on social, they'll follow you over there. They'll migrate. They're looking for a reason to leave those platforms. There'll never be a perfect time to start. There's only now or later. Every week you wait is a week someone else in your area, in your niche, gets ahead of you. The best Substack to start is the one you actually publish, not the one you plan. So how do you get started? Let's do some actionable items to just get you started. The first thing is pick a topic. Don't go out there just writing about everything. Pick one thing to write about. Start with that. If there are adjacent topics within that, you can explore, but I would just start with one topic to start. And make sure you can write about it consistently and make sure you're passionate about it. Then set up your Substack profile page, write your about section, publish your first post. Start free, build trust with your audience before you ask them to pay. Now, if you want to passively turn on your paid subscriptions, that's fine too. But especially early on in the beginning, it's okay to just start for free and build some trust with your audience. Show up at least once a week. Consistency matters more than perfection, right? Start ugly, start fast, and just get it out there at least once a week. The first edition or the first article or post does not have to be great. It just has to exist. If you're looking for a community to grow with, I want to invite you to visit sportsstackers.com. We would love to have you check us out. We are a community made for sports writers, but we welcome all. And if you want to come check us out, all you have to do is visit sportsstackers.com. Last thing, stop waiting. Start publishing. The people who need to read your work or listen to your podcast or watch your videos are out there. And this is going to sound harsh, but I say this all the time to folks. If you keep that to yourself, it's in fact a selfish act. Let that sink in. Don't keep all of that greatness that you have bottled up inside of you for yourself. Share it with the world. And what better platform to share it on than Substack?